Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present another Forest at Duke trivia session. My name is Kelsey Fry. I work in the Department of Resident Life, and I'm excited to be hosting trivia for you all today. So we have 20 multiple choice questions. We'll go through all of them, and then at the end, we will go through the answers and hopefully share some extra information. So if you want to go ahead and grab a pen and pencil, we will get started. So question 1, what is the smallest bone in the body? Answer choice A, the pisiform, B, trapezium, C, stapes, or D, cuboid. Question 2, which animal is the official symbol of the World Wildlife Fund? Is it A, giraffe, B, dolphin, C, zebra, or D, panda? Question 3, where is the largest aquarium in the United States? Is it A, Florida, B, Georgia, C, California, or D, Massachusetts? Question 4, what is the name of the dog in The Wizard of Oz? Is it A, Toto, B, Bandit, C, Shadow, or D, Chance? Question number 5. How many million scent receptors do dogs have in their noses? Answer choice A, 50 million, B, 100 million, C, 150 million, or D, 300 million? Question number 6. Which U.S. president had the most children? Answer choice A, John Adams, B, John Quincy Adams, C, John Tyler, D, Andrew Johnson. Question 7. In which movie did the song White Christmas make its debut? Was it answer choice A, White Christmas? Answer choice B, The Shop Around the Corner? Answer choice C, Holiday Inn? Or answer choice D, Christmas in Connecticut? Question number 8. What is the most common street name in the U.S.? A, First Street, B, Second Street, C, Third Street, or D, Main Street? Question number 9. Which planet is the hottest in our solar system? Is it A, Mercury, B, Neptune, C, Venus, or D, Saturn? Question number 10. In the Kentucky Derby, the horse age is limited to what? Is it A, 2 years, B, 3 years, C, 4 years, or D, 5 years? Question number 11. Which fruit has more genes than humans? Is it A, dragon fruit, B, grapefruit, C, lemon, or D, tomato? Question number 12. Who discovered Australia? Is it A, Lewis and Clark, B, Captain James Cook, C, Juan Ponce de Leon, or D, Ferdinand Magellan? Question number 13. What group of animals is called a crash? Is it A, coyotes, B, seagulls, C, meerkats, or D, rhinos? Question number 14. Which soft drink originated in North Carolina? Was it A, Pepsi, B, Coca-Cola, C, Sprite, or D, ginger ale? Question 15. In which year were the Academy Awards first held? A, 1929, B, 1932, C, 1936, or D, 1945? Question number 16. What is the highest score possible in 10-pin bowling? Answer choice A, 200, B, 250, C, 300, or D, 400? Question number 17. What fictional detective lived at 2021 B Baker Street? Was it A, Alex Cross, B, Auguste Dupin, C, Veronica Mars, or D, Sherlock Holmes? Question number 18. Which country has the most natural lakes? Is it A, Australia, B, Canada, C, India, or D, the United States? Question 19. Which of the following is not a Dr. Seuss book? A, There's a Wocket in My Pocket. B, If I Ran the Zoo. C, Wacky Wednesday. Or D, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And question 20, our last question for today. What Hawaiian island is known as Bird Island? Is it A, Nahoa, B, Wahula, C, Puyulmoku, or D, Hulu? I'm not sure that I pronounced those correctly. All right, so it is now time for our trivia answers. Question 1. What was the smallest bone in the body? The answer is C, stapes. The stapes, or stirrup, is a bone in the middle ear of humans and other mammals, which is involved in the conduction of sound vibrations to the inner ear. The stapes is the smallest and lightest bone in the human body, and it is so called the stapes because of its resemblance to a stirrup. And there's a picture here of the inner ear and the three bones that make up the inner ear, the stapes being the one that looks like a circle. Okay. Question 2. Which animal is the official symbol of the World Wildlife Fund? And the answer was D, panda. You can see here the logo is on the screen. So the Worldwide Fund for Nature, or the WWF, is an international non-governmental organization founded in 1961 that works in the field of wilderness preservation and the reduction of human impact on the environment. They have invested over $1 billion in more than 12,000 conservation initiatives since 1995. WWF aims to stop the degradation of the planet's natural environment and to build a future in which humans live in harmony with nature. All right. Moving on to question 3. Where is the largest aquarium in the United States? And that answer is B, Georgia. And there's a picture here of the Georgia Aquarium. The Georgia Aquarium is a public aquarium in Atlanta, and it's home to hundreds of species and thousands of animals across its 7 major galleries, all of which reside in more than 10 million U.S. gallons of fresh and salt water. It was the largest aquarium in the world when it opened in 2005 until 2012. And then in 2012, it became the 3rd largest aquarium in the world after the Marine Life Park in Singapore and the Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in China. The Georgia Aquarium does remain the largest aquarium in the U.S. and in the Western Hemisphere. All right, question 4. What is the name of the dog in The Wizard of Oz? And the answer is A, Toto. And there's a picture here of the Wizard of Oz poster, and Toto is there right in the middle of the O. Okay. Question number 5. How many million scent receptors do dogs have in their noses? And the answer is D, 300 million. According to Samantha Schwab, who is the resident pet expert at Chewy, dogs have up to 300 million smell receptors, while human noses only have 5 million. Okay, question 6. Which U.S. president had the most children? And the answer is C, John Tyler. John Tyler fathered 15 children, more than any other U.S. president. He had 8 with his first wife, and when she passed away, he was married once again, and he had 7 children. Question 7. In which movie did the song White Christmas make its debut? And the answer is C, Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn was released in 1942, and it featured the famous Irving Berlin song. It wasn't until 1954 that the film White Christmas came out, piggybacking on the success of the song by the same name that had spent 11 weeks at the top of the Billboard charts in 1942. It sold more than 100 million copies worldwide. And that's a picture taken from the movie Holiday Inn. Question 8. What is the most common street name in the U.S.? The answer is B, 2nd Street. According to the National League of Cities, 2nd Street is in fact the first most common street name in the country. 3rd is the second most popular, and 1st Street happens to come in 3rd. Main Street comes in 7th place. Question 9. Which planet is the hottest in the solar system? The answer is C, Venus. Although it's the second planet from the sun, Venus is actually the hottest planet in the solar system. The reason Venus is hotter than even Mercury is not because of its position in the solar system, but because of its thick, dense cloud layer. The average temperature on Venus is 864 degrees Fahrenheit. Question 10. In the Kentucky Derby, the horse age is limited to what? And the answer is B, 3 years old. Officially, the Kentucky Derby is an age-restricted race, meaning only horses of a certain age can enter. For this race, that age is 3. Like many of human sports that require high-level athleticism, racehorses also tend to front-load their lives, and pretty much all racehorses start racing before they've physically matured, and many retire before that as well. All right, next question is question 11. Which fruit has more genes than humans? And the answer is D, tomato. The tomato genome has been decoded. Plant geneticists from 14 different countries spend the last 9 years mapping the genetic makeup of the tomato. They discovered that the tomato contains 31,760 genes. That's 7,000 more genes than a human being. Okay, question 12. Who discovered Australia? And the answer is B, Captain James Cook. Captain James Cook was a British explorer in the British Royal Navy. He made detailed maps of Newfoundland prior to making 3 voyages to the Pacific Ocean, during which he achieved the first recorded European contact with the eastern coastline of Australia and the Hawaiian Islands. He also had the first ever recorded circumnavigation of New Zealand. Okay. Question 13. What group of animals is called a crash? A crash, and that is D, rhinos. Did you know? According to the WWF, Asian rhinos are excellent swimmers who can cross rivers with ease, but their African relatives are actually poor swimmers, and they stick to wallowing in the mud for a cool down. As you can see pictured here as a rhino having some fun or bathing in the mud. Question 14. Which soft drink originated in North Carolina? And the answer is A, Pepsi. Pepsi was first introduced as Brad's drink in New Bern, North Carolina in 1893 by Caleb Bradham. He made it at his own drugstore where he also sold the drink. And in this picture, you can kind of see an evolution of the Pepsi logo. Starting in the upper left-hand corner there is 1898. And down at the bottom, it progresses to 2008, and that's the latest Pepsi logo. It actually went from Pepsi Cola to just Pepsi. Question 15. In which year were the Academy Awards first held? And the answer is A, 1929. The first Academy Awards ceremony was presented by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and it honored the best films of 1927 and 1928. It took place on May 16, 1929, at a private dinner held at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in Los Angeles. The Academy Award president, Douglas Fairbanks, hosted the show. Okay. Question 16. What is the highest score possible in 10-pin bowling? And the answer is C, 300. In bowling games that use 10 pins, the highest possible score is 300, and it is achieved by bowling 12 strikes in a row in a traditional single game, 1 strike in each of the first 9 frames, and 3 more in the 10th frame. Okay, question 17. What fictional detective lived at 221B Baker Street? And that is D, Sherlock Holmes. Though he was not the first fictional detective, Sherlock Holmes is arguably the best known. By the 1990s, there were already over 25,000 stage adaptations, films, television productions, and publications featuring the detective. The Guinness World Records lists him as the most portrayed literary human character in film and television history. And there's a picture here of the famous door for 221B Baker Street. And question 18, which country has the most natural lakes? The answer choice was B, Canada. Canada might be the second largest country on Earth after Russia, but experts agree it has the most natural lakes in the world and over half of the world's lakes. It is estimated that there are nearly 31,752 lakes in Canada. Okay, question 19. Which of the following is not a Dr. Seuss book? And the answer was D, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So here pictured is many of the famous books that Dr. Seuss wrote. Dr. Seuss is known for his writing and illustrating. He has more than 60 books. His works include many of the most famous popular children's books. He's sold over 600 million copies, and they've been translated into more than 20 languages. Now, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie is also a rather popular children's book. It was written in 1985 by Laura Numeroff, and there's now a series of If You Give a Mouse or If You Give a Cat Something books. And our last question for today, what Hawaiian island is also known as Bird Island? And the answer was A, Nahoa. Nahoa is also known as Bird Island, and it's the tallest of the 10 islands that are in the uninhabited northwestern Hawaiian Islands. The island is home to 25 species of plants and several animals, making it the most diverse island in the entire northwestern Hawaiian Islands. The plant communities and rocky outcrops provide nesting and perching areas for 18 species of seabirds. And pictured here is the island. All right, so that concludes this afternoon's session of trivia. We thank you for joining us. As always, this is something just for fun, so we won't be collecting any answer choices or any answer sheets, but we hope you had a good time, and hopefully you will catch us next time. Thanks so much.